Hi, I'm Chloe Songer, CEO and co-founder of SuperCircle and Thousand Thought. SuperCircle is the first technology and reverse logistics system to really connect the retail industry and the waste management industry. We consider ourselves the digital backbone for recycling in the textile space. We help identify products that are coming back, and then we solve the issue within waste management around identification, aggregation, collection, and sortation to get products to their best end-of-life feed and their best end-of-life stream.
My name is Jerome Fox. I am a biochemical engineer and founder and CEO of Think Bioscience. Think Bioscience engineers microorganisms to build better medicines. So in a nutshell, we basically program microbes with a drug design challenge and evolve them to come up with a small molecule solution. So we're using the physics of biological systems to solve long-standing challenges of medicinal chemistry, to drug the undruggable.
I'm Jocelyn Lai. I'm a co-founder and the CEO of Bedrock Energy. At Bedrock, we're building technology that makes geothermal heating and cooling an accessible, scalable, and actually profitable way for buildings to go net zero with carbon-free heating and cooling.
Hi, I'm Silvio Livesco. I'm a co-founder and chief technology officer of Bedrock Energy. I have extensive background in the oil and gas industry, more than 15 years with ExxonMobil and Baker Hughes. Also a short stint at the University of Texas at Austin as a professor in the petroleum and geosystems engineering department.
Hi, I'm Jason Aramburu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Climate Robotics. Climate Robotics is developing mobile biochar production systems for commercial agriculture. Biochar is a carbon-negative soil amendment that is made from wood waste or biomass waste. It's a very powerful tool in the fight against climate change, and it also helps to improve the health and productivity of agricultural soils. And what we're doing specifically at Climate Robotics is building mobile systems to make biochar on the farm using agricultural residues that are normally just burned or thrown away or just left in the field.
So when I moved to Colorado, I found out I had a heart murmur, just a mechanical problem that I got fixed with open heart surgery. And when I was at Cleveland Clinic to get that surgery, I had this epiphany that I want to develop a medicine before I die, that there are a lot of patients in need. We had just developed a technology in our group that we thought might provide new opportunities for drug development. And so I thought, what better time to translate that technology into a company and try to push new medicines for diseases that currently lack them. So that's why we started Think Bioscience. We want to exploit the computational power of living systems to change the way medicines are developed, not just to drug the undruggable, but to accelerate the rate and reduce the cost of drug development, to supply new medicines to patients in need.
I started to think about how I can use all my oil and gas experience into some kind of clean energy to help the humanity reduce our CO2 footprint. It was just an epiphany one morning when I realized that we can decarbonize all buildings using geothermal energy and using oil and gas expertise. And so me coming with all the innovation from oil and gas, we need solutions, we need technologies, we need actually to build things capable of working the code.
I started my career 11 years ago in China. Right after graduation, moved to Wuhan, lived and worked in Wuhan, and then Shanghai for Alexander Wang Group, Gap Inc., and others. And really early in my career, really uniquely, one of my co-founders, Stuart, and I were exposed to the supply chain. We had this vision of working in fashion and retail and how glitzy and glamorous that could be. I had interned at Vogue. And then I was here in southern China in and out of factories, in and out of sample rooms, having grown up in the Silicon Valley, having grown up a self-described climate warrior. There's so much within the fashion ecosystem, within the fashion supply chain that really didn't align. And so I started thinking really early around, climate, clean fashion, like what is the next evolution? How do you make fashion sustainable? We're in a situation where 60% of clothing hits a landfill within 12 months of manufacture date. In the US, fashion waste is actually outpacing the growth of plastics waste in the last 20 years. It is responsible for 6 to 11% of landfill space, depending on the state. And we're in a situation where Goodwill, Salvation Army, the Red Cross, of the clothing donations that they receive, 80% are shipped abroad. Only 20% can actually effectively be reused in the US today.
Well, my co-founder and I have worked in the biochar space for 15 to 20 years each. And we've really seen it grow from a niche idea to the largest durable carbon removal mechanism on the planet. We believe that to really take biochar to scale, you have to do it at the scale of a commercial farm, which is thousands and thousands of acres. And so that's really kind of what we're driving for. I think our unique insight was really that the biggest barrier to scaling biochar is the production cost. To bring the cost down, we really need mobile pyrolyzers that we can actually take out to the farm. So this is biochar. Biochar is a carbon-rich material made from agricultural or wood waste. It takes about one of these corn stover bales to make, approximately 1 barrel of biochar. So what we do is we take this corn stover and we heat it to very high temperatures, over 800 degrees centigrade, in the absence of oxygen. And so instead of converting to ash or just burning, because there's no oxygen in the reactor, we're left with this very pure mineral form of carbon that we can then apply to the soil.
The moment that starting Bedrock made total sense to me was when I realized that this is a technology that is very close to ready, but simply needs re-engineering for the use case of urban construction. This is really important because impact requires that we're not only putting venture dollars into really long shot, moonshot things, but things that can commercialize today. The insight that really got me super excited was that we could, in a year, build a technology stack that could decarbonize a building and show that it could be 3 to 5 times cheaper, faster, and more space efficient than any other geothermal system before. And that is a value proposition that can scale in only a few years.
Welcome to Bedrock's first test site. What you see is several holes that we are drilling, and then we are installing the geothermal loops inside, through which we are going to circulate refrigerant for the purpose of exchanging heat between the surface, a building, and the subsurface. We are trying different technologies here. We are trying different hole designs. We are trying different geoloop designs. And then we are acquiring all kinds of data that is used in our modeling software for the purpose of designing a geothermal heating and cooling operation.
We like to say Super Circle is built by brands and for brands. Because we're tracking at the unit level, we're able to effectively give brands a complete visibility in where their items go for second life.
So in starting Think Bioscience, we were really just amazed by the fact that nature is replete with molecules that organisms have made to fulfill sophisticated ecological functions. So for example, a plant might make a molecule that attracts a predator of an herbivore that is munching on that plant. It's amazing. And so we thought maybe we could encode living systems with our own drug design challenges and evolve them to come up with new solutions. So that's exactly what Think Bioscience is trying to do.
I've been a founder before in the biochar sector, and I think the difference between now and then is, 10 years ago, biochar was not a VC backable space. There wasn't a market for the carbon credits. No farmers had heard of it. And now that's just completely different. And it's really been exciting to leverage mine and my co-founder's expertise in the space. I mean, we're veterans. We know what others do not. And it's just so exciting to see how the space has changed so quickly.
Our estimations are that if we are going to decarbonize all the large buildings in the United States using geothermal heating and cooling energy, we will need to drill 200 times more than whatever happens in the oil and gas industry today. So it's a massive market, it's a massive opportunity, it's a great mission, and only building an ecosystem we can do that together. So in terms of Bedrock, I feel we are, again, the right startup in the right place at the right time. And so we will need everything that it takes to build this company, the team, and the technology.
To date, we're sending about 40% of what we collect into fiber-to-fiber recycling, which is really unheard of. And we also utilize downcycling, upcycling, and waste energy where needed, but nothing that comes back through Super Circle ends up in landfill, and nothing is sent abroad.
I think that fighting climate change specifically needs people who come into the space from the outside, because we're at a point in this era where we need to be deploying things at a speed and a scale that has never happened before. And if we just rely on people who have the credibility of having been in climate for 20, 30 years, we won't move fast enough. We need people who, in Bedrock's case, understand real estate. We need people who honestly have come from oil and gas. We need people who bring in skills that are completely agnostic to whether or not they have green credibility, but are things like managing supply chains, things like manufacturing heavy equipment, project management. And these skills are going to come from sectors that have not historically been considered green, but we have to all come together to make deployment happen quickly enough to keep climate change under 2 degrees Celsius.
Well, our goal is to get to 1 million tons of CO2 sequestered annually by about 2030. And to do that, we're going to have to scale up our fleet significantly. But if we are successful in hitting that target, we'll be delivering hundreds of millions of dollars in value to the farmers that use our products. And that's through increasing their crop yield, reducing their fertilizer expenditure, and reducing their water consumption.
In thinking about the scale of our impact, we think about parallelizing drug development across many different types of targets to develop drugs for everyone, everywhere, all at once. That's our vision.
The long-term vision for Super Circle is really to solve the data and traceability problem within waste management. Starting with textile waste here in North America, we're now across Canada, the US, and Mexico. In the US alone, in the next 5 years, 100 billion garments will head to landfill. That is a staggering number and a huge market opportunity. And so our immediate 5-year vision is to attack the textile waste space.
Bedrock's vision is to decarbonize buildings everywhere. And what that means is that I would like in 5-7 years to see that geothermal heating and cooling is actually the default for any building that can have it. Today, building heating and cooling contributes 4 gigatons of carbon emissions worldwide every year. This is more than passenger vehicles. And so it's so critical at this moment to start decarbonizing the built environment, decarbonizing the buildings that we live and work in.